sure it's working here. Yeah, it looks all right. All right. Yep, that should work. Hey, Kyle.
Hey, Will. Hi, Mike.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How are you guys?
Never had it so good.
All right.
I think Allie will be here any minute.
Hi, everyone. I should be here. Oh, there I am.
Hey, Allie.
How's it going?
Not bad. How are you doing? Sorry
Good.
about the delay. I think maybe somebody just got stuck in traffic or something, you know.
Oh, no worries.
All right. Well, let's get this party started. Shall we start the Thursday, February 19th meeting of the Planning Commission? You're up first, Kyle. Is this sound on, I wonder?
Oh, you're muted. Yeah.
There's the sound. Okay, I'm just going to share my screen.
I like those racing stripes on your wall there, man.
Thanks. That's all of the creative ideas just emanating from my mind.
Yeah.
It looks like it's trying to connect. Oh, I have to select. Okay. Okay, it would be this one. Yeah. Okay. Do you all see the slideshow?
Yes.
Excellent. Okay. I think we're golden. Just let me know if it doesn't switch slides on you, or I can test it now. Yep. Okay, it's switching.
Okay.
All right, we're good to go. So this is the kickoff meeting for the town plan update. And I'll just go over the agenda briefly. There's not a ton that we have to do at this meeting. We're not getting into content, but we'll go through, this process and the scope of work and the steps involved. I don't think we need to do introductions. We all have met and introduced ourselves at prior meetings. So. If there were other people here, we could do introductions. Yep. We'll be just doing a brief overview of why we update the town plan, what are some reasons for it, and what are some of the things that we have to do. The entire plan will be updated, but there's some areas that we'll want to focus on a little more work than other areas. So I'll highlight some of those, and then we'll just go over what the outcomes and deliverables are for this project. And then I've put together a tentative process and timeline of, how I see maybe things shaking out in terms of what we'll do at each meeting, when we'll have public forums, and when the plan draft is expected to be done. And then we'll just wrap up with questions and comments. And I always like to schedule the next meeting when we've got everyone here. It just makes it easy, so we're not trying to kind of organize things by email after the fact. All right, so that's the agenda. There are a few reasons why you have a town plan and why it needs to be updated from time to time. So the town plan is primarily a future visionary document. It's forward-looking. It's not really used as a regulatory document except in Act 250 and Section 248. So this is largely just that future planning and visioning. Town plans are required to be updated every 8 years or they expire. If a town plan expires, then towns can't go and update their regulations, and you wouldn't be able to go and get, say, a municipal planning grant or a community development block grant. So those are some benefits of having a town plan. In effect is, you can go and update your flood regulations, which we did. And you can go and apply for certain grant opportunities. And when you update the town plan, towns have the option to pursue regional approval. That essentially means the Regional Planning Commission reviews the plan, ensures that it conforms with state statute, the requirements for town plans, and that it conform to the regional plan. And if it does, then the plan can get regional approval through a hearing process at the Regional Planning Commission level. And then finally, as I mentioned, this is primarily a visionary document, but the town plan does play a regulatory role to an extent in Act 250 and Section 248. So those are very limited. Act 250 is, most things that go through Act 250 wouldn't really conflict with the town plan. And Section 248 would be, it'd be like solar siting or telecommunication siting. So it's not, that's very narrowly focused. It's not, like typical zoning regulations that you'd maybe have at the local level. Okay, so I just did a brief review of the town plan. We'll be updating the whole thing as we go through this process, but I just took note of some areas where we may need to put a little more time and effort. You always have to update the data. That's just something that it gets stale after 7 or 8 years, and you just have to keep that updated. It's typically through the Census Bureau or the American Community Survey, and that would, the data in there right now is from the 2010s, so just making that current. So every time the town seeks regional approval, the Regional Planning Commission reviews the plan and provides feedback or comments. And typically, if it's approved, there may be comments that say, the plan in general, it's strong, but in a few areas, you need to do a little more work. And so the review highlighted that the economic conditions, transportation, and utilities and facilities elements do need some revisions. So we'll need to focus on getting some additional language into those. And then was it 2024, 2025? The state published new energy data for the regions. And so this is essentially the 2050 energy targets for reducing energy emissions, thermal, electric, and I'm blanking on the third one, but they're essentially different sets of emissions that we're trying to reduce through renewable energy siting and things of that nature. So there's already data in the plan in regards to energy. We just have to incorporate the new data, and we can look at kind of revising the language in the energy chapter to make it so the plan could get an enhanced energy plan status. And what that essentially means, so I mentioned Section 248, and that's in regards to energy siting. And the town plan is essentially party to these energy siting at the Public Utility Commission, but the plan just receives due consideration. It does not, so that's the status it receives when solar siting projects come before the Public Utility Commission. With the enhanced energy plan, it could receive substantial deference, which is a much stronger standing. It essentially says you've gone above and beyond the basic elements that you need for the energy component of the town plan. So we'll weigh the plan. We'll consider the plan more heavily in this proceeding. It's not a heavy lift to create the enhanced energy plan. It just needs to include the required language, and so that language can be folded in. I think one of the things that you'll have to look at if it's something you decide you want to do is just ensuring that the proper policy language is in place. Often there needs to be a policy or two on, weatherization of municipal buildings or promoting weatherization or energy efficiency for residents, promoting electrical vehicle usage, either through, supporting electrical vehicle charging stations or things of that nature. So some additional policy language may be needed for the energy chapter if the Planning Commission decides they want to do an enhanced energy plan. But again, it's not a huge lift.
So Kyle, I'm assuming that since we don't have any zoning in Granville, that this is really primarily, the energy chapter is primarily focusing on municipal related activities and issues.
Yeah. The only time that this would kick in potentially for energy would be if there is a large renewable energy generation facility going in, like a large solar array, for example, going in somewhere. But even then, if the it would be more for if the energy facility would like to get preferred siting status, then they would go to the town, and the town would say, okay, based on our policy language here, you appear to be in a preferred siting location. That just gives the energy company benefit in terms of being in a suitable location for that development. They're not going out into the woods or areas where it may be less suitable, or there's not access to the electricity needed for moving that solar energy or moving it into the grid. But the main difference between the enhanced energy plan and just your standard plan with an energy element is that due consideration versus substantial deference. So it just gives the plan more weight. I don't know if Granville would ever use this. I'm not sure if there have been a ton of renewable energy. What's that?
One more time, Will, what'd you say?
Yeah, I'm getting some
Yeah, that's kind of what I was getting at.
Okay.
Didn't sound like it was. Okay. Anyway, I was just trying to get some clarification.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, I think the only suitable place for solar is really the valley here. If anyone's trying to clear cut the forests, hopefully Act 250 would cover that. But I think my thought was around the telecommunications aspect of that portion as well, in terms of a cell tower. Is that where you were going with that?
Yeah, and the plan can contain policy language on, maybe how a cell tower needs to blend in with the landscape. It can't be prohibitive of it can't be like, thou shalt not build cell towers in our town. But it can include language on, protecting critical natural resources or wildlife, and just kind of ensuring that certain dimensional standards maybe are met so that it generally blends in with the surrounding landscape.
Yeah, I'd lean to Mike and Will to say if that would be relevant for us, or if we're just like repeating history, since I'm new to town, but this has been a conversation for us in Granville.
Yeah, it's been a little while since I looked at current plan also. I don't believe we addressed some telecommunications.
It could be there's already policy language in the current plan. So maybe it's something to look at when we get to the telecommunications chapter, just as, does this policy language seem adequate?
That'll be a fun night.
Yeah, I don't see telecommunications in the table of contents of the current plan. Would it sit under energy or?
No, it would be its own thing.
Okay.
And I think there is a chapter on it, because at the end of the slideshow, it's not a long slideshow. I kind of lay out a tentative schedule, and so all the chapters are given there.
Oh, okay. Yeah, maybe page 17, 18. It talks about the cell tower on Butts Road.
So I'll continue. On top of, so we've covered energy, but there's been a lot going on the last couple of years around housing, and some changes in state statute around the requirements, and state plan goals around what needs to get addressed in town plans and the regional plan for housing. So we'll need to make changes to the housing chapter to address those. And then for each chapter, I think this will be where we focus most of the time is on reviewing and revising the goals, policies, and recommendations. Some recommendations may be stale or they may be already completed. And just ensuring that, the goals cover what you think they need to cover, and the policy language is adequate for each section. This is an 8-year plan, so some of the goals and policies may need some fine tuning based on what's happened the last 7 or 8 years. There's also a new requirement in the state plan goals for town plans to adequately address the distribution of environmental benefits and burdens. It's still not entirely clear to me how best we do this. So at the Regional Planning Commission, we're still figuring out how we best address this in a town plan. So we're going to, language will need to be added, but it's not yet entirely clear how that will look, what section it will go in. It's possible we may try to just address it in the introduction. But it's very new language, so we're still piecing it together for the regional plan as well, because the regional plan has to address that criteria too.
What's the short of that, Kyle? I'm just not familiar with that. Benefits and burdens.
That's like, the language kind of strikes me more as something where, like, maybe better suited to a city where you have a very large population, and the population may be kind of stratified into different neighborhoods where you have maybe lower income neighborhoods, higher income, and maybe you have an industrial park next to that lower income neighborhood spewing smoke and all sorts of what have you into the air, and it's impacting air quality. That'd be an inequitable distribution of environmental burdens on a specific neighborhood. It's much more difficult in Vermont, I think, to really pin that down, because people are all over the place, and you don't really have concentrations of maybe populations that would be to be impacted by those environmental burdens, nor do you really have like really big affluent neighborhoods that are relatively well protected, at least in our region. I guess on maybe, because
You know, we had a gated community here in Granville.
not that I'm aware of. You know, you can kind of, there are like specific instances of where maybe you get, you know, a mobile home park by a river in a floodplain. Like that's an example of, okay, the mobile home park is at risk based on its location. But you know, aside from that, it's hard to really pinpoint how this gets addressed in the Vermont context. So that's something we're still trying to unravel.
Yeah, and it seems like it would be more of a regional thing too, connecting towns and, you know, valleys and mountaintops. So that's interesting, though. I think that kind of ties into what Will, you were thinking about with the dark skies thing too, as a possible inequitable distribution of natural light or lack of natural light.
Yes.
One way that we were looking at least addressing this at a regional level, is reaching out directly to maybe marginalized groups or groups that could be impacted by some environmental burdens, and taking more of a qualitative approach of holding meetings with these groups and discussing their concerns and challenges that they face. I don't know if that's a possibility in Granville. I don't know if there are any like nonprofits or organized groups in Granville that we can maybe bring into the planning process, or at least get their comments on, you know, on the town plan.
Not that I'm aware of.
Generally, I mean, I think the services to Granville are spread out. Generally, they house in another community, depending on where we fall regionally. The county, the case group, the
Mike, I can't hear you. You're sorry.
I should move you closer. It's just the two of us.
Yeah. You may not see us, but you'll hear us.
Okay.
I mean, the nonprofits that are in Granville are largely either Addison County based, where the main office might be in Middlebury, and you know they'll serve this community, or in the other direction, you know, out of Windsor or Orange County. So there's no nonprofits that are here in Granville serving at-risk populations, but there's plenty of services available to the community. Because of our size, if confidentiality gets to be an issue, you know, connecting with individuals is going to be difficult because it's such small numbers that any organizations are hesitant to release names or encourage people to come out. But something like you know, food shelves and you know, those sorts of organizations are probably going to be able to, you know, help disseminate information, collect information, or connect with people that are.
Okay. So it sounds like there are some organizations then, but they're more regional. And it's, you know, it's possible that later on in the process, I think it maybe like Capstone Community Action or something like that, where it may make sense trying to reach out. But I think further down the road, we'll have a better sense of what this criteria will look like and how we need to integrate it into the plan.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then I'm just wondering, are there any other areas that you all think need specific attention in the town plan that we should focus on? Fine if not.
like environmental stuff is where I'm mainly interested in.
Yeah, I think I had mentioned like our wetlands section could be beefed up a little.
Okay.
And maybe some more general questions for you, Kyle. Yeah, we've had conversationally over the last months and years, and we've talked about invasive species. We've talked about junkyard, essential junkyards along the roads, wetlands, all these different aspects. How would a town plan fit into things like that? Thinking that it would be an ordinance that would address those things, but is there a way to set up a plan that might lead to ordinances, or encourage the select board to put these things out there, or do they go to town meetings for votes or petitions, or what role does the town plan play in overall and things
Like does it set the table?
Exactly.
Yeah, does it set the table for a discussion of maybe an ordinance or something?
It does, in that you need to have the language in your plan to kind of then go subsequently create an ordinance or regulations. But the language in the plan does not need to be highly specific, and I don't think it's beneficial to have the language in the plan very specific. So I know I've worked with towns where they have zoning, and we were looking to make it easier to build housing. But the first place you look at when you want to make changes in the zoning is a town plan, because if the policy language says thou shalt not have greater than 2-acre minimum lot size in this area, you can't go and fiddle with that in the zoning and say, oh, we're going to make it a 3-acre. And so you can run into issues if you're too specific in your town plan. It kind of corrals you in, if you will, from being able to have the flexibility to make changes in the zoning or in the subdivision regulations. So the plan should have, in that regard, less specific information, less specific policy language. Like it's a policy of the town to support much needed housing in our village center, including maybe like multifamily and higher density housing. Then you've got the language you need. You don't have to prescribe what that means necessarily. Is it half an acre or 1-acre density? You don't have to get into that in the town plan. That's more of a zoning question. In like other areas, the town plan, like the utilities and facilities chapter, really acts as an initial guide for what is it that we need in the future. What are there any facilities that need to be maintained or repaired? Do we need new equipment? Road crew equipment, fire equipment, things like that. That's really where you put that that language in, is like, hey, this is something you need to think about in the next eight years. This is maybe a good funding source for it. This is how much it might cost. It doesn't lock the town in at all for getting those things. It's just setting the framework. It's that future visioning that we have of what are the needs, what are the capacity limitations, and ways that we can address that. So, each element's going to be a little different with And some elements might be a breeze, and others might be a little more controversial. It really depends on the town and what the big issues are. So, but it's really largely shaped around the goals, policies, and recommendations within each section, making sure you've got the language in there that you want. For Act 250, you do want the language to be a little more prescriptive, and that's where we need to make sure, and I think this language is in there, but principal retail is not, at least at the regional level, it's not allowed in rural areas for Act 250 purposes. In the regional plan, rural areas, principal retail is not permitted. So in town plans, we make sure that in the rural areas, we also say that principal retail is not permitted in those areas, because otherwise you run into the issue of principal retail goes in, you get conflict between a town plan that maybe doesn't have any language or is silent on it, and the regional plan that says this is not allowed in those areas. So just making sure that those conform and that there is more prescriptive language on that front.
Kyle, how are you defining principal retail?
Principal retail is like, it's like your big box stores. It'd be like Dollar General. You're going in and you're kind of getting
okay,
this.
so it's like Walmart, Home Depot, all of
Yeah.
Cool. I love that.
And they're big enough that would trigger Act 250.
Me too.
Right.
Definitely don't want a Dollar General here.
Right. I don't have the definition with me, but it's defined in the regional plan. So
I see. Okay.
We get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to confirm that we were talking about Walmart here.
That's what I speculated too.
Great. I'm glad that's
with the idea being that we don't want, we have these centers, right? Our historic villages. We don't want to be creating these commercial nodes kind of out in other places where it might take away from the kind of economic drivers in those villages, if there are economic drivers there. Just think about when I was in the Midwest, and you got like by the interstate exits, you just got tons of commercial, and it just kind of turned all of the historic towns into like ghost towns, essentially, because people didn't have to travel over to shop there anymore. So, okay. Any additional, I guess, areas that you think we should focus on?
I just had one more thought. In terms of any language, and I'm not sure if you can pull from other examples from other town plans you've had your hand in, but I'm looking at the Morrisville town plan as an example, and they have a section called irreplaceable natural resources. And I was wondering if there were like physical areas or locations in Granville that we would want to call out and address as things to protect. If that's not really in there already, I don't think it is, but
Yeah, I love that.
I do think, because that's a statutory requirement. So I think the plan currently has language in there. Is it Moss Glen Falls potentially?
I would hope that was one of them.
And I think there are some other areas as well, but the plan does call out a few of these, irreplaceable natural resources. And yeah, I'm just pulling from memory here. But when we get to that section, I believe it's natural resources.
Yeah, it must be chapter 3, physical conditions and natural resources.
If there are some areas that are not in there that you think should be in there, those can get added.
Okay. Yeah, I think that could stir more controversy, but I think it's worth identifying a couple at least to start.
Oh, that's what we're here for.
Yeah.
Yep.
Let's stir up some
Yeah.
controversy.
Well, you all have the local knowledge that I don't have. So
Well, we
that's
don't want to say like, Hank's, secret spring down the road, but we do want to call out a couple spots that are, used by everyone.
Well, it raises questions. I remember when we were doing the floodplain um, regulations, and one of our local residents came in and was concerned about beaver dams. I don't know if you recall that or not,
Mhm.
I
but
do, yeah.
and I think uh, that made me think a lot, and it sent me down a rabbit hole of research, about wetlands and about how some of the Vermont communities are kicking the can down the road by vaulting the banks of the rivers, and some of them are being more open to wetlands and so on and so forth, doing their job properly. And I think that's a great conversation to have. That's like very valid.
Sweet. Yeah. I want to know the beaver population in Granville personally. I think that should be in the town plan with the hopes to grow.
Think
Probably not going to be in the
it beats
census
the
data.
human population.
Yeah, that would be good. I think that's how people will care, right? If they know that these beavers are actually doing some good and trying to restore the earth that we've destroyed. But in Hancock, there used to be a dam right at the intersection of 123. Yeah, Mike's nodding his head, and it was removed. So we're at least trending in the right direction. Not that we have any dams in Granville, but
Oh, we do. No, we
oh, we
have beaver
do.
dams. Oh yeah.
Oh, sorry, I mean man-made dams.
Oh.
Oh, got it.
There was a man-made dam in Hancock that was removed in the 70s. We
Oh,
looked
I
at the
got it.
records.
I see.
Just kind of pulled up and very casually scanning the current plan. I think we do need to pay attention to transportation, mostly around our road system. It's not good, and
Mhm.
it's something I think we should be laying the groundwork, setting the table for improvements there.
Okay. And generally the process that I find like the most effective process is I'll do a lot of the like data edits ahead of time prior to discussing the chapter. And then I'll typically add comments into the chapter on, hey, I think we need a policy in here on X, or this language maybe should be changed to Y. Um, but when we talk about if there's discussion on language that's not in there, I'll take notes and write in comments and then integrate maybe a paragraph or sentences afterward that we can then review again at the next meeting, just to, so we're not necessarily wordsmithing everything in the meeting, but we're making sure that the discussion is covered and that translates into language in the draft plan.
Good. That makes a lot of sense.
Okay, then so I'll just move on to outcomes and deliverables. It's pretty straightforward, just an updated draft plan and maps that will be transmitted to the select board. The scope of work doesn't go all the way through select board hearing and adoption, but we generally just help out with that anyway. The scope for this municipal plan grant is just that we get a draft through the planning commission hearing, revised and transmitted to the select board. And then also just running it through a review. Typically before we get to the final select board hearing, and often at the planning commission hearing level, we'll take a look and make sure that the draft town plan conforms with, is consistent with the regional plan, the state planning goals, just so we're not running into an issue later on where it gets adopted and oh shoot, we can't get regional approval because it's not, it's missing some fundamental element. And then public outreach and participation. Obviously, the public's welcome to come to any planning commission meeting, but we are required to hold 2 public forums throughout the process. So one public forum would likely be early in the process, just introducing people to what is a town plan, what isn't it? It's not zoning, and just why it's important that this get maintained and updated. Some of the benefits of having a plan, similar to why I outlined on that second slide. Who knows if people will show up, but
yeah, are we allowed to communicate that out any other ways other than having a public forum? Or like, could we do a survey as one of our community engagement pieces?
You could. It's not something that was built into the scope, so it's not
okay.
really allocated time for me to put a survey together. But we have a lot of old surveys that towns have undertook back in like the 2010s or late 20aughts. So if that's something that you all wanted to put out there, you could certainly use those. I could send those over and you could use them as inspiration. It's not required. I think with a public forum, we can reach out through the various public avenue, like communication avenues. If there's front porch forum, I'm not sure if there's the town has a Facebook page. I'm just trying to think of ways that.
Yeah, I think if we could just post some bullet point information on Front Porch Forum, I think that covers our bases pretty well. If they miss the meeting, no one's gonna come. It's just gonna be us.
It would be nice to have a few people.
It would be.
And so that's something that we'll need to start thinking about. And what's that, Mike?
Mitigation plans, it wasn't vast public participation, but we did have
really
representatives involved. Mark was pretty integral to that.
Okay.
So, sergeants were here talking about fire safety. We had some.
Okay, I'll stay positive.
That wasn't Will and I didn't get come up with it ourselves.
Well, you can bet if it irritates or pisses somebody off, you can bet that they'll be here. Up, right? Yeah, they'll definitely be here to complain.
Okay.
We'll say it's about.
Well,
so we're doing a good job if nobody comes. I'm just kidding.
I'm just thinking about, if there is a controversial topic and you want people to show up to a meeting, you put that topic on a front porch forum post, be like, we're discussing this at the next planning commission meeting. I don't know if Granville has one of those, but I remember there was people would get in one town, people would get upset about, ridgeline development. It was like very controversial thing because someone had put a house smack dab in the middle of the hillside with leaning down. And so, they posted on the listserv, and lo and behold, you got like 40 people showing up to the meeting.
Yeah.
But, and that's something where, like, maybe just if it could just be kind of a notice on the select board agenda, like, oh, by the way, everyone that's here tonight, the planning commission having a public forum on the town plan update, because I know people do go to the select board meetings. I've seen them there. And who knows? They're engaged residents. Maybe they want to go to a planning commission meeting too. So
Yep.
that's another possibility.
All right,
Um,
we'll see.
yeah, I've put up just a tentative town plan process. I expect we can do a few chapters per meeting. The chapters are very short. It'd be about 10 to 12 pages. You know, again, it's not rewriting the plan whole cloth, but I would be going in, see if there's weird language, I'll note it. If the language needs to be modified or changed, or you know, there are changes in statute that we need to address, I'll put in language to make sure we're meeting that requirement. But then that's where, you know, when we meet, if for one reason or another, like for example, the natural resources chapter, if there's an irreplaceable natural area that you think we need to talk about that isn't mentioned, you know, that's something that could get discussed at the meeting, and I could take notes and then put some language in after that you can then review prior to the next meeting. I do think we'll spend a little time at the next couple of meetings just talking about the first public forum and getting ready for that. That'd likely be at the end of those meetings. I don't think it would take too much prep. It's more just kind of brainstorming ideas for outreach and getting folks kind of trying to find a way to get folks to show up. I haven't put dates on for these meetings, but I expect that, you know, we probably hold one meeting a month.
Yeah. Make it happen.
Yeah. So that's pretty much it. It's a 2-year project. I mean, the municipal planning grant is for a 2-year time frame, but we can probably get it done sooner than that. So I don't think we'll get down to the deadline here. And okay, questions or comments?
I think I'm just most excited about you know, the natural resources pieces. I'd like to spend some time poring over that section beforehand, and you know, that's what's most important to me. Our town it's beautiful. That's one of the best things about Granville. So I'd like to keep it that way.
Great.
I have
Thanks.
a question, Kyle, about the maps, and if we're just refreshing all the existing maps we have in the town plan, or if there's an opportunity to make new maps, or yeah, if we could, yeah, talk about maps.
Yeah, I think largely, you know, the maps will probably stay the same. Utilities, facilities, and education are technically 2 maps, but we put them together because otherwise you have maybe one school on a map.
Okay, cool.
And I don't expect that much has changed in terms of, you know, the facilities that the town has since the last plan. But occasionally there are new things that are added that need to get noted down. So when we do look at those sections, we look at the map too, and we, you know, are there any changes here? It's not the first or the last time that we'll look at it. It's just, you know, we can go back to it down the road if, you know, oh wait, we forgot this cemetery needs to be listed. Like, yeah, that can get added in later on.
Okay.
Where there might be a change is the future land use map.
Yep, right. That's what I was thinking.
Because with the regional plan update, you know, we've kind of redone the village centers for the regional plan, future land use map, and those have gotten a little bit bigger for Granville. So the town plan can reflect that. I'm saying it can because you can choose to keep it smaller.
Okay.
But my recommendation is to expand those so that they more or less align with the what's mapped in the regional plan.
Yeah, that sounds wonderful.
For nothing.
Right.
What's that, Mike?
Never.
We didn't do that work for nothing. We wanted.
One map that I would like to see in the town plan, which is hanging right in our town office when you walk in, to the left is the invasive species map that plots out all the different invasive species. I think that would just be good to get people's eyes on.
It's great.
Where
I don't know who made it. Do you guys see it over there?
Look, let me look.
We turned and looked at it.
Upper White River Cooperative Weed Management.
Upper White River, huh?
Missed that one.
Did you hear that?
Upper White River.
Here. Upper White River
Cooperative.
Weed Management Association.
Okay.
And the White River Partnership, the Forest Parks and Recreation Vermont. It looks like it was a cooperative effort. Upper White River Cooperative Weed Management Association.
Okay.
Right.
Well, my thought is if we can track down that map, it could just be linked to the plan. It's very easy to add links into the plan to as like referencing external sources. So.
Okay. And I have one other crazy question. Sorry to keep you, Kyle, but I'm a graphic designer by trade, so I'm wondering if people get fancy with their town plans and like lay them out with more photos, or if it seems to be kind of a Word doc template, but just that process of like export, and if we wanted to throw in a cover page or a few more photos or change the font.
We could totally do that. Yeah.
Okay.
That does tend to get passed over simply because it's just that's not really budgeted in. But I'm all for putting in graphics and photos and things like that. So if we can make it more engaging in that regard, I think it's a more useful document. It's more readable, like more appealing for people if there are photos in there.
Yeah. If it's all text, you tend to glaze over and just
right.
Yeah, it's hard to read. I want photos of knotweed and beavers.
Yeah, and I mean it could be tough to like getting a great photo of a local beaver is maybe challenging.
Oh, I have a new mission.
That sounds like a challenge. That's a challenge.
Yeah, if someone has one, then
I can call a guy. Yeah, he's in Rochester, but we'll, close enough.
Right. Yeah, we just need a photo that we're allowed to use, and
well, I mean, think about ways, or think if there are specific photos or design elements. I'm happy to help with that. I definitely want to be proud of this when we're done. So.
Yeah. Great.
I can take pictures of beavers if needed. Got my camera.
Or like like local spots, like if those some of those irreplaceable natural areas. If you got some photos. Yeah, perfect.
I'd love to help with that.
Yeah, cover Moss Glen Falls. Done.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, just things like that would help to give more color to it.
Sweet. Awesome. That's exciting.
Great. The last thing is just, since I have a captive audience here, is scheduling the next meeting. And I don't know what folks' schedules look like for March.
I'm pretty available. So, I mean, always a little crazy busy, but not leaving town too much, I don't think so.
Okay.
Are you thinking like middle of the month?
Yeah, why don't we just like a month out? Yeah, roughly.
That works
And
for me.
if Thursdays tend to work for people,
Mhm.
Sure.
Yeah,
just thinking today's Thursday. Maybe the 19th. It's yeah, Thursday the 19th.
yeah, I was looking at 19th, kind of
Works for me.
keep consistency.
Yeah, works for me.
Threw me off because we're in Thursday the 19th right now. I'm like, am I in the right month? But so okay. So March 19th.
Hey, Kyle, kind of a associated but not quite similar question for you. Given our challenges with logging on to this WebEx, with the town's WebEx, I guess we're all waiting for Kelly, the owner of the account, to get home and be able to log us on. We're all waiting as guests. Do we have to have a official town link here for people to get in by open meeting laws, or is there an easier way we could manage that so we're not inconveniencing ourselves? And
I mean, if I recall when we were doing the flood regulations, I think I would supply like a Zoom link.
that's what I was thinking.
That seemed to work well.
Yeah, we
And-
just think we should remain in control of it because,
Mhm.
it's just complicating things to get Kelly involved.
I agree.
And yeah, the only issue would be if you had other agenda items, then
Oh, right.
I'd not want to like stick around.
We could set up, if it's just having something, we could just use a Zoom account, I would imagine. I mean,
But if it's just me, then yeah,
Yeah, no, I forgot about that. Well, okay, we'll
Fast.
talk to we'll talk to our peeps about that. We'll come up with something.
okay. Let's see. That's-
I feel like this has come up before and it's been discussed, and
yeah,
I've just forgotten it. I do that. A month goes by, we have to talk about it again.
Yeah, well, I was just remembering the one time when we were trying to hold a meeting and the thing happened where like no one was the host. Like, oh, I feel like this happened before.
yeah. I think that was when we were trying to get Ali on, and we had to having to wait
Yeah.
a month or something.
And so yeah, I'm more than happy to schedule, especially like if it's just doing town plan stuff, then I could schedule a Zoom. I could make sure that it goes to Cheryl and so that's posted with everything if that's just easier for everyone.
Well, why don't you let me look into it, because
Okay.
like you said, we should probably have us, even if we don't do it, even if our meetings primarily consist of just dealing with your stuff, we should probably have a solution for times when they don't. So
Right.
Be semi-independent.
we don't love you, but we should probably
Not around forever, so.
All right. Are
Okay.
we good?
We're good. I have it down for 6 p.m. on the 19th, but
Yeah,
Sounds
Yeah.
good.
6
around
is
then. Okay.
okay. 6 is good. I won't try and pull up the 6:30 anymore.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone.
thank you.
Thanks, Kyle.
Yeah. Have a good evening.
Excited to kick this off. Take
Oh,
care.
yeah.
All right. Good night.
Good night.
All right. Shall we move on to discussion of collaboration with the White River Natural Resources Conservation District? I don't know if did I forward that to you guys? The package that I think her name is pronounced Jael. JL. Did I forward that to you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I had a
Sorry, yeah, I think I see it. It was
Tiny
trying
grants,
to find it.
2026 ABCC tiny grants.
Tiny grants.
It-
Okay, I got it.
So I had a really great long conversation with Jael, and so okay, so let me back up just a second. I don't know if you guys had a chance to read on the, like, check out their website and kind of see what they're all about. But the main, I went through their website a bit and then talked to Jael, and it seems like the main way that that we can work together and that they can help us is with our invasive species. Just in terms of Granville. And of course, I jumped on that real quick. It's my pet peeve project. And so we talked a lot about where and what the issues are and which one of them her organization can help with. And it seems like it's primarily the issues where the knotweed is an erosion issue, which is kind of everywhere. That's the point of knotweed. Yeah. It's like on the banks and the wet areas. So it's their organization is like really well suited to help us out, and they do a lot of that work. And so she talked to me a lot about what issues we have and what ways that they could, the different ways they could help. Like, they have some communities that are spraying, for instance, or injecting and we can't do, well, I shouldn't say that. I don't think it's likely to work here based on my experience over the years dealing with different folks here who are like vehemently against that.
Okay. Because I've had experience with chemical treatment on knotweed too, and I wouldn't rule it out ever. But there's a place, for it.
I wouldn't rule out any tool, but I will say that it's been my experience that there are some local residents in Granville that they will show up and get real nasty about chemical use. I've been called names just for bringing it up. She sent us this information on tiny grants. She sent us, if you guys recall, the email that has the meeting on the 24th, which I'm gonna definitely watch and try and learn as much as I can. She provided me with several really good resources of people to call and talk to start figuring out some strategies. The conversation also created a few questions. Like, for instance, one of the areas that I'm particularly concerned about is the Gulf, the corridor leading up to the falls. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure you guys have both probably noticed the knotweed marching up river to the falls on the side of the road there, which is a particularly devious place for it because it's first of all it's the state, and secondly they can't mow it, not well, because of the guardrail, so they can give it a haircut, but they can't truly, which is problematic, right? Because it doesn't cut it down enough to deplete the plant's resources. So it leaves 2 or 3 feet of the plant sticking up, which does absolutely nothing. And in fact, the pieces of the plant are going to fall in the river and go downriver and spread. It's making it worse. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So the only real thing to do there is pull it, which also is a problem because, it's hard enough just to cling to the side of the bank there. Like, how are you going to, it's a real
close the road. Do you mean like the actual physical space that it would take?
Well, it's the shoulder there next to
It's
the,
yeah,
it's like maybe 10 feet wide or so.
And even that's going down the bank.
Yeah,
so-
and it's a steep
yeah.
bank, and
yeah.
it's rocky. It's very, very rocky. I actually climbed over and like kind of explored around a little bit to see what we were dealing with and tried to pull a couple plants out. And the soil is just
Oh yeah,
shit.
they're in there.
And the knotweed loves it because it's really rooted in there. So it's gonna take a serious effort to get it out of there. But I feel like that's one of the most important places because the falls are kind of like our mascot of sorts. It's our thing. And I mean, look at all the tourists that are piled in there all year long. I mean, you practically hit them with the car now because you can't get because the bridge has been broken
Because
for
the
3
bridge is
years.
out.
Right, that's also a concern I think for us in terms of safety.
Yeah, I've got an update. I mean, I've got thoughts on that too to share. But she has some ideas, and she's really enthusiastic about working with us on it. And so I feel like the next step is to reach out to some of these resources she provided and some of the communities nearby, like Hito, who is the Conservation Commission chair in Warren,
Okay.
and also the guy who has the Knotweed organization in Waitsfield, and then she also gave me the contact for a guy. I don't know if it's in Northfield or Roxbury, but he's like supposed to be like a super expert on it and could potentially help us out. So I think that's like a next step of the
Are
process.
these all through mechanical means then, these resources, or would some of these people be like, you should use glyphosate?
I don't know. I know that Hito and the guy in Waitsfield are diehard mechanical. They're the ones who put the stakes in the ground, like along as you go north along 100 through Warren. There's a few piles where they've been, and they say that they're incredibly successful with removing it that way. So those two guys are definitely mechanical, but this other fella I think is more of a I've got a whole toolbox to use kind of guy. So I'm
Okay.
really anxious to talk to him. And then, getting a hold of some of these grants would be lovely. She said that that would be because, like Hito and the guy in Waitsfield, they have like an army of kids. They call them interns helping them. And other than the three of us, I've heard people pay lip service to being concerned about the knotweed in Granville, but nobody's lifted a finger to do anything about it. So I think we do need some help. And
Yeah, I think it's worth talking about it now. I mean, we're probably late to the train, and those teenagers that they employ, they have great content on YouTube. And I just think people need a little bit more education about what it takes. Or, my dream, if we were to ever host events in Granville, would be like a community knotweed removal day,
Yes.
where people really could get their hands into it and learn like firsthand. So I think
And
that these are
I think
great
if
ideas.
if we got the ball rolling and got something going, and people maybe even saw us out there pulling it and doing like something happening, the momentum might encourage people to come out and help.
Yeah, and those teenagers who are cleaning up the Mad River, or at least I've heard from a friend, my friend even told me, yeah, we went up, and he lives in Waitsfield. He's like, we went all the way up to Granville to clean all the way up to the headwaters of the Mad River.
Wow.
And then I was like, oh, is that like a slight? Because we're not doing anything about it, but we aren't.
Well,
So like, it's time to definitely take responsibility for it.
yeah. Well, I think their thought was that they went to where the waters part. The Mad Rivers goes one way and the Alderbrook goes the other way, and there was a ginormous patch like right there. So I think they thought, well, let's start at the top and work our way down. I think that was the
Yeah,
idea.
theoretically, I get it, but
Yeah.
now we will travel upriver, like you just said. So
Yeah. So I don't know. I feel like it would be I don't have any experience with grants, but maybe you guys could look over the package that I sent you, and maybe we could sort of divide and conquer on some of these things. Like I could reach out to some of these people and see how what we could learn from them, or what we could set up with them in terms of a meeting, or actually going to them while they're working, and see what we could learn from them. I know that Hito, the Conservation Commission chairman in Warren, I've tried to speak with him on multiple occasions.
I thought you talked to him.
I've spoken to him one time, and he's actually kind of not super friendly, and like he basically is like, come work. If you want to talk to me, come work. And I, my thoughts, I was a little put out, I must admit, because I was like, Hito, you got an army of people helping you, and I'm just one guy. So at the time, I was a little overwhelmed, but it's nice even just having two people here that are even remotely interested in it. So that's good. So that's
I love knotweed. I mean, I love the like I have a complicated relationship with knotweed, but there are also a lot of other invasives that I would want to talk about too, including
sure.
Japanese barberry that's been rampant in some of the farm fields, and I see it a lot in North Hollow and Rochester, and I've seen some up at the top of Maston Hill and North Hollow Road, but I know it's coming, so I'll just flag.
You might have to educate us on that. Have you? Is it known by any other names? Like, I didn't know if sometimes the locals have a different name for it.
What other names would it go by? I think that's the big one, but
it grows in the fields.
Yeah, it like will grow along wherever it can get enough light, like fence lines.
What does it look like?
The cattle. It's got little red berries on it. I don't know if I can share my screen. Let me see. There we go.
Look it up. Did you say it was called Japanese what?
Oh wow! Can you see these guys?
Oh.
This is what it looks like. It gets really red in autumn. So that's an easy time to identify it. But yeah, it's got these red berries on it, and not even deer will eat it. So the cattle aren't interested; they'll just pass over it.
Not seen that.
I don't know if goats will eat it, but maybe.
Goats eat everything.
So yeah, okay. That's one invasive I'd like to just keep on our radar too. But knotweed's definitely the big one.
Well, and Sherville's out of control. I mean,
yeah.
That's crazy. I mean, I don't even know if that's, some of this stuff feels so, and even the knotweed feels insurmountable, frankly. But
yeah,
I feel like we need to just like eat the elephant one little bite at a time, right? Like start in places where like the falls, and another place I'm really concerned about is the sides of, for instance, like the banks of the headwaters of the White, right where the National Forest Road starts.
Mm-hmm.
That it's on that bank now, and it's like it wants to go down to the river, and every day it's like causes me so much anxiety, like looking at that bank. So I don't know. That's where I'm at with. That's what I've learned from Jael, and
I can't seem to find that in my email. If you could send it, that'd be great.
Which one?
I can't find your grant proposal. I was trying to dig for it too.
Get it? I just sent it tonight.
I did not see it.
Okay, I'll do it. I'll do it when I get home. Maybe it's quite possible that I messed it up.
Could be a delay in reception here or something too.
Or I didn't do something right.
I did get the dark skies though. That I did receive.
Okay. So just before we pull off this topic, I guess I'm not quite sure how to divide it up or to delegate it, but I must admit that I don't want to take it all on myself.
I'd be happy. I mean, I'll take a look at the grant application here, Allie. It's an $800 grant. I can't imagine it's complicated.
There's a bunch of, there's more than one too, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that would just be for removal. or would it cover? Because sometimes, you know, like it's nice to, well, not sometimes. It's always nice to plant natives after you've gone in and done all this invasive species removal. Would any of these grants cover the cost of new native plants or cuttings?
We'll
Or,
Yeah.
I mean, there's also, you know, like the erosion mats or wattles or different types of, you know, controls we can put in with organic material if it's
Maybe what we need to do is back up a little bit and like discuss, and I don't mean right now, but discuss an invasive plan, you know, overall for Granville. Like maybe do a survey or something, you know, like maybe knotweed isn't our only or most.
Well, and that is, I mean, that is something I wonder, you know, as we get into this town planning process, is that something that we can put into the environmental piece of that?
recommendations, yeah.
Yeah, and make it a bigger town thing. I mean, this, yeah, I mean, if you're talking, you know, somewhere between 1 and 5 people that are engaged, it's really an uphill battle. If it's something that we can get the town to back, then there's a lot more resources. Maybe not a ton more people, but but you know, then do we open up the opportunities to partner with other towns? You know, get in with Warren.
And that's exactly what Jael was saying.
Yeah,
that's a whole conglomeration of people doing the same thing. And I'm no naturalist, so knotweed is just, you know, my nemesis. But I think maybe what we need to do is, you know, back up and look at this like systemically or something, or and then choose like. I have ideas about what's important, but you guys might have different ideas, you know. I don't know. I could use a little help here, kind of figuring out how to eat the elephant.
Yeah, and I'm so, you know, I'll be frank. I care. I will do everything I can, but I don't have a ton of extra time either.
Yeah.
You know, happy to participate in the commission and our meetings and get our stuff done, but I don't have a ton of time outside of that.
Yeah.
None of us do.
Well, no, I mean, to some extent, I look at it like exercise too. Like I need a lot more exercise. So like any chance I can get to like get outside in the woods and do a little outdoors work, I'm more inclined to do that than sit here in a meeting, frankly.
Yeah, no, I have to be protective of my time in a way because I'm also a big yes man. So like I think setting up like one community knotweed removal day a year would be like a good place to start.
Sure.
If that was a goal of ours or something. But yeah, I also try to be protective of my time and not overcommit myself.
And if we could, for instance, if I could get some help, for instance, figuring out a way to get some of these interns or you know, students here to help, I would be happy to go and be the point person for them, and like, you know.
Exactly.
So yeah, but I could use some help with this stuff.
Yeah, I'd be happy. Allie, I imagine you would have some background with that, with graduate work too.
No, I haven't written any grants, but I'm excited to like start kind of looking into it and hope, you know, we can definitely do some work there together as a commission. So I'm happy to split it up and make it less scary for you, Will.
And it always sounds scarier than it is. It's just a little writing. Yeah,
we got this.
All right, should we move on?
We can. I've got about 10 more minutes or so.
Okay. The only thing that I have for new business is, and I guess maybe this can just, maybe we could just roll this into what Kyle's got us working on. But you know, the Dark Skies Initiative, I sent you guys. I sent you the Vermont has a statute, which is not, you know, it's nothing that it's more like a what do you call it, a suggestion, which is fine. You know, I think that's what it would end up being in Granville too. I wrote up like a pro forma draft of something we could present to the select board. But basically, I don't think anything that we do in Granville should probably be like, you know, mandatory, enforceable sort of thing. But if we could just start having these like an unenforceable ordinance or something that you know, it's neighborly.
Yeah.
You know, like, some way to educate the locals about some of this stuff. And again, we don't have to go into the details on my thoughts on dark skies, but maybe that's something we could discuss with Kyle in the.
That sounds like, I mean, that sounds like the kind of stuff we're talking about for the plan, you know, that aspirational visioning kind of stuff that, that yeah, not a binding ordinance about what kind of lighting you can have on the outside of your house, but
Yeah.
but spreading the education. And
The one thing I'm not quite clear about, sometimes I lose Kyle a little bit, but I mean, no fault of his.
no,
It's like,
he is very detailed.
I need him to be a little bit more concise and direct, and sometimes he's kind of like, things. I'm not sure if the plan can involve like things I'm concerned about are how Granville, Granville is this beautiful place. I see it as this like sort of blank palette right now, right? Like this raw,
Yeah.
beautiful place. But they're coming. They're coming. Trust me, they're coming. And like things that I would like that I'd be interested to just start discussions about are like minimum lot size. I don't have a strong opinion about it, but I think it should be discussed. And like when you drive through Hancock, for instance, and you're coming through to Granville, there's a big difference. You know, the way, for instance, the way that Hancock has dealt with their commercial spaces, and you know, having like, you know, excavators and stuff like all alongside the road for a quarter mile or a half a mile. Like I think we should discuss like how we want Granville to how this community wants Granville to develop over time, because they are coming. And you know, we have a huge commercial area over here that's somebody's going to do something with pretty soon.
Yeah.
I know for a fact that those guys are getting itchy. I'm talking about the bowl mill. You know, like the old hotel. That place is not long for the world. So there's spots throughout Granville that have potential to be developed in the future, and we should get in front of it. That's my 2 cents on that. Another thing, for instance, is STRs, short-term rentals. You know, I hesitate to bring it up because it's it's my income.
Conflict of interest, yeah.
I mean, I don't want to shoot myself in the foot, but
no, that's a complicated one, because you know, rightfully so, like people are entitled to do what they want with their property, but then like we see what I mean. Stowe is obviously like the pinnacle example, but right here in Waitsfield and Warren, I think we can.
As a real estate agent, you know, I get a lot of I have a lot of input on what people want when they come here, right? The number one conversation that people have with me when they're looking for a second home when they live out of state and they want a little piece of Vermont is, well, we want a place that we can buy and rent out when we're not using it. And then that means like they're not vested in the community. Right. They're taking all that money to another state. Like, we don't have to get into that conversation right now, but maybe we should at some point, you know, get in front of that.
Oh, we will definitely, I think, with Kyle, be talking through all things housing. And I think that will be kind of a striking conversation, because there's going to be probably a lot of pressure to come up with some sort of potential affordable housing situation, or think about, you know, people who want to do ADUs, and just all of these things that are kind of coming at us with this housing crisis that's happening everywhere. But yeah, I totally agree with what you're saying, Will. I think that it's definitely worth getting ahead of it. And personally, my concern is how can we get ahead some of these larger private business sales if like the town can't buy you know, the old general store or the wool mill, like what will happen to it, you know? So just kind of like trying to figure out how those can become community resources in the future, through whatever means we have, or, you know, power we hold with the select board.
All right. I think, anybody have any other business that they want to discuss? or-
No, those are all good things. And I think, I mean, my impression is that these are the kind of things that we can get into the town plan. Hopefully inspire the select board too. I am not a regular, or I am not a participant at all in select board meetings, but it feels like it's a more forward-thinking group than we've had.
I was just going to say, I'm more inclined to think that that some of this stuff could be heard and
Yeah,
discussed now than before.
yeah, a lot of it sort of fallen on deaf ears in the past.
All right.
That's exciting. I'm glad.
By the way, I went to school for graphic design.
Oh, cool. Okay, so you want a pretty town plan too?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. Okay, good.
Quit.
Sweet.
I quit though, but I can relate.
All right, good. When I'm like, why? What about this kerning is bothering me? Just be like, let it go.
Yeah,
50
really.
pages.
Send it in.
Not exactly.
You're like, let it go, Allie. Let it go. All right, sounds good. Are we done?
I think so.
Sounds good. Thank you,
All right.
guys.
Adjourn at 7:42.
All right, I second that. All right. Good night.
Thanks, Allie.
Take care. Bye.
Everything's all
Thank
right.
you. Yeah,
Bye.
she's. Yeah. Take care.